What's up, ladies and gents? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Francisco. Listen, you see this right here behind me? Let me show you real quick. That's my setup. That's where I've been doing all my content for the last couple of years, okay? And that's the part of my setup that you just typically don't see. What you've probably seen, if you've tuned into any of my streams or have watched any of my videos in the past, is the wall that is directly in front of me right now, which I'll show you a picture of now. That's been the same backdrop that I've had now for quite some time, couple of years at minimum. And I've been wanting to do something to improve the aesthetic of the back wall here, but also I wanted it to be something functional. It's got to be able to do something to improve my recording environment. And that is where Arrowzoom steps in. So Arrowzoom reached out to me via email and they're like, hey man, we've found your channel. We like your content. We like your channel. Would you be interested in doing a review for us? I'm like, sure. What you got in mind? And they're like, hey, look, we're going to give you a budget, okay? And you can go to our website, pick out whatever you want within that budget. We'll send it to you and you can do the review. I'm like, that sounds like a fantastic idea. I like that. Let's go ahead and do that. So I'll go on their website and I start shopping around. I've never heard of Arrowzoom. The only thing I know about them is what was sent to me in the initial email. Turns out that they deal with sound treating your rooms, okay? In your studios and what have you. So I scrolled for a couple of minutes and I come across this design. And this is the one that the moment I saw it, I literally fell instantaneously in love with it. But look at this. This thing is a work of art, all right? And I'm kidding, because this isn't even it. This is the foam portion of the panel, but it actually comes in two parts because, of course, I'm not going to just hang up something so plain. Are you kidding? Who do you think I am? No, because what also comes included with this is this wood diffusing panel as well. And with their powers combined, you'll eventually, stick one to the other. This is what we get. And when I saw this design on their website, that was it. There was no need to continue to scroll. I emailed them back. I'm like, hey man, here's the one I want. This thing is absolutely gorgeous. I literally told them it's absolutely criminal that I've never heard of you guys because y'all have some beautiful stuff on your website. And well, for full transparency's sake, my budget was $150. $150 got me 12 of these guys. So what we're going to do, I'm going to take all the stuff off of my wall. And then what we're going to do, because again, I'm looking at this from two different perspectives. Number one, aesthetically speaking, do they look good once they're up? I don't doubt we're going to have any issues with that. I think they're going to look fantastic. All right. But number two, functionally speaking, is there an improvement in the sound treatment in my room? When I take everything down, I'm going to hook up my Rode NT1 5th generation condenser microphone. I will not have processing turned on. We're going to see what I'm dealing with a bare wall behind me. And then I'm going to do it again once I have everything set back up. So in the meantime, while I get everything going, and this is going to take a long time, why don't you just sit back, relax, enjoy some chill music, and I'll kind of walk you through the process of putting these guys together. All right, so this is the Rode NT1 5th generation. I've got it plugged in via USB into my laptop. I'm recording everything right here. I'm literally like maybe a foot or so, foot and a half, maybe 2 feet, maybe 2 feet away from the wall. The wall is completely barren. Now I've taken everything down. And pro tip while we're at it, if you ever want to put anything on your wall that requires you to screw into the wall, don't. Just don't do it. Go for something adhesive. At least a takedown portion of the adhesive stuff is a lot easier than having to remove screws. That's just tedious and annoying, so don't do that. But anyways, the whole point of this little segment here is that I want you to hear what this sounds like right now when I'm using a condenser microphone. This is a very sensitive microphone and speaking directly into an untreated wall with absolutely nothing on it except for the holes from the screws that I just removed. That's all that's on this wall. That's it, nothing else, all right? And now what we're gonna do is I'm going to go ahead and get these wooden panels cleaned up. They'd recommend wiping them down with alcohol, sticking them onto the foam panel to then get this result right here. Once we do that, the hard part comes along because I still haven't decided what pattern I'm going to use with all 12 of these guys right here. So while I think about that, once again, NT1 5th generation condenser microphone via USB, no software, no VST plugins, nothing at all to help it with noise rejection. This is the mic working on its own, and I'm speaking directly into a barren wall. Do you hear the room echo or anything else going on? And then once I get these set up, we're going to do it again, and we're going to see if there is an actual noticeable improvement or not. All right, so we're done. I got the setup and everything completed, and I got to tell you that, like, aesthetically speaking, I'm a huge fan of how these panels look. I think they look gorgeous. They look fantastic, and as a matter of fact, they work very, very well with the paint color, the color of my walls and room, because I didn't go with a, traditional white. I went kind of like a very off-white, light gray-ish color. I forget what it's called. All right, but I just went with it because it was not conventional and it wasn't white. Which in hindsight, I kind of regret because I feel like white would allow more light to bounce around in a room, but that's besides the point. Aesthetically speaking, I think these things look beautiful. Setup was a breeze, okay? The most difficult and annoying part of this whole process for this whole video was actually taking everything down, which in the grand scheme of things, that wasn't even that difficult to begin with. But as far as putting those up, even with having to attach the wooden part to the front of the foam, that was easy. That took about maybe 10-15 minutes maximum. And then once I figured out exactly what pattern and what design I was going to go with, I'd say this all took me about maybe 30 more minutes on top of that, just measuring and making sure that I got things, lined up and angled correctly using a level, etc. Blah, blah, blah. I was not initially going to use the adhesive that comes on the back of the foam. My main concern with those adhesives would have been that if I had to stick a panel onto the wall and then reposition it, I was afraid that as I took it off, it would tear off my paint, which is something I don't even want to begin to deal with. But I figured I've got to do this thoroughly and I got to do it all the way. So I went ahead and used the adhesive that came included on the back of the foam, which is already pre-applied, which is fantastic. Okay, so it's less work that you're going to have to do in the setup process. The good news is that there was a situation where I had to actually remove a panel and reposition it because I had kind of messed up with the alignment. And when I took it off, A, it was very easy to come off, and B, no paint was taken off in the process. Now, I cannot speak to whether or not that'll be the same exact result the longer these panels stay up on the wall, but initially, at least during setup, it was very easy and there was no damage to my wall whatsoever, which is a big deal and a very big win here for these panels. Now, the final thing we need to discuss here is performance, okay? Is it doing what it's supposed to do? Well, you tell me. This is the NT1 5th generation USB condenser microphone. I have all sorts of VSTs turned off. I'm not running anything on it right now, as a matter of fact. The only thing I have on it is EQ, that's it. Noise suppression, noise gate, and expanders, they're all turned off. So this is going to be picking up exactly what it would pick up on its own, organically, plugged right into the computer, plug and play. Do you hear a difference in the amount of room echo that this is or is not picking up? I'm going to stop this right now and listen back to this and see if I can hear a difference, and I'll be right back with my conclusion. Okay, so after listening back to the portion of this video where I had the wall completely bare, everything had been taken down, and then also listening to it now, the clip that you just ended right now where I just told you about how I got everything set up, I can hear a fairly noticeable difference between how much room echo was being picked up in the clip with nothing on the wall versus how much room echo was being picked up with these new panels up on the wall. And I gotta tell you, It's a positive difference. I hear much less room echo. I still hear some, but that has nothing to do with these panels. I think it has more to do with the fact that I still have quite a bit of surface here that's not covered, plus some corners and some other things going on. Plus I have a wooden floor. I do have a large carpet underneath me, but there's a couple of other things that are working against me when it comes to room echo and sound treating this room. However, I do notice a significant difference between bare wall and the wall now covered ish with these new panels. Now the thing is too that's helpful here is I deliberately went with this giant diamond directly in front of me, or in this case behind the camera, because since I'm speaking to the camera, which is relatively, I don't know, let's say 1.5 feet, maybe 2 feet away from me, it's going to absorb and take up most of my voice, most of the sound coming from my mouth, and not allow it to bounce off of that surface and then around every other surface in this room, which is fantastic. So yeah, $150, 12 panels that look absolutely beautiful, that do the job that they're supposed to do. And the one thing I want you to think about here, and this is not a knock on any other brand, but the other brand, major brand out there that does a similar product, for $100, you only get 6 of their panels. Now, there is a very distinct size difference between the two. And although I'm sure a lot of people have them now, I'll tell you, they have a nice design, but Arrowzoom's onto something here, because this stuff is beautiful. And as a matter of fact, my only major complaint about this whole product right now is the fact that I don't have more. Because I want more, because I want to finish this design now. Now that I've started it, now I have to finish it. Maybe that was their plan all along. I almost forgot to include this segment into the video. So here's the thing. If you were to hop into one of my Twitch streams, or maybe if I were to record my next video like I am right now, from this perspective, from my main setup, this is what it would look like now behind me with the new Arrowzoom panels now put up. Everything else has been taken down. So you can see I still have all my other figures and my degree right here. I got to find something to do with those. I don't plan on like putting them away. I do want to put them up, but I want to make more intelligent use of my space. But here's the deal, okay? First things first, if you like what you've seen and you like the results here, I want to suggest to you that you go check out Arrowzoom on their social media. They do tend to post promotions very frequently, very often, all right? So this might be a good time for you to go check that out. Number 2, I do have a discount code and a link to their website and a link directly to the panels I bought in the description below. So if you're interested, go ahead and click the links on the description. All right. Number 3. So if you are a streamer, a content creator, a podcaster, a musician, somebody doing vocal work, right? And you want to sound treat your room while also adding aesthetic value to what you're throwing up on your wall, you really need to go check out their website. So now that I've done this portion of the video without forgetting, let's finish up, shall we? Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, there's going to be a link to Arrowzoom's website in the description below, along with a discount code for you to use for watching this video. I hope you found this video informative, educational, helpful. And if you're in the market for sound treating your room, I know it's so tempting to go to Amazon and buy the cheap stuff. And I know that there's some other major players that had some decent stuff too, but if you want something that's going to work and is also going to help you stand out, and I know everybody says that, oh, this product will help you stand out. This literally will, because I don't know of many people, and I've watched a lot of YouTube, I haven't seen something like this. I've seen the other wooden panels that are just like straight lines, which they have also, by the way, but I haven't seen this. And so if you want something that works as intended, and it's going to look great in your content, you need to go check out Arrowzoom. And definitely use that code at the bottom below. I honestly don't know if I get anything for this at all. I will put something down here. But until next time, be good to yourselves, be good to one another. Peace out.